Hello there, vlog. Back to business. Nearly finished off this bottle of wine. Didn't really like the taste of it. Quite a sweet one. But once I finish that one, I've got another bottle. Just watching a program about drugs, about drug dealing. It's following the police and everything while they try to tackle drug dealing. It's been a good watch, quite interesting. Before that, I was just watching a documentary about Wandsworth Prison. So yeah, drug dealing and prison. That is the current theme. Well, we're finished with prison. Now I'm on to drug dealing. But as always, because yesterday's video is exporting, that means I've got to wait to go back to watching the show. Or I can just switch over to my phone. I can watch it on there, which is actually what I may do.
Going to the address and buying drugs from the address. So it's got the names on there of everybody. You recognise some of them.
I've just been on TikTok live for about an hour, singing some songs. I don't know whether I should try and sleep now. It's just gone midnight. Probably not going to get any sleep thinking about it. So it might just be another night of being up all night. I don't want to do that. Like I said, I want to get my sleeping pattern back to waking up about 7. If possible. That means I should be asleep right now. I should be asleep by 11 PM. But I don't think there's any way I'm going to sleep now. Based on how I feel. I don't think it's going to be possible for me to sleep now. I could lay down and try to sleep. It's 20 past midnight, and I might actually go out for a late night walk. Yeah, like I said, definitely not going to be able to sleep. Not with how I'm feeling right now. So think I may as well just accept that. Just get on with it. I've got to go to the toilet first though. I just got a bit of a rush a few minutes ago. I'm going to guess it'd be from the Pro Plus that I've taken. The caffeine must have just hit the bloodstream, so I felt a proper rush. Anyway, I decided to come out. It's really cold and dark and everything like that, but it's probably quite calm as well. So it might be a good walkabout at this time. I can't imagine I'll see too many people, if any. So I'm just gonna walk, that's it. Came in from the walk because I was desperate for the loo. I literally made it just within a couple of seconds of probably shitting my pants. Oh man, that was lucky. I've done that a few times. Whatever those stimulants are that I took, they really kicked in. I mean, I know what it was the Pro Plus caffeine. I took 2, and then I took another 2 later, so I took 4. I don't know what that is, I think that's like 200 milligrams of caffeine. It gave me a big rush anyway, which was actually really good. Exactly what I'm looking for. I need to break out of the depression, so a rush that's how you get out of the depression, I think. Anyway, I'm thinking about going out again for another walk. Taking even a longer route and staying out for a longer time, because I've got this energy. I don't think I'll have any problems out there. I've got to stay active in the hours that I'm awake, whether that's the middle of the night or the middle of the day. I can't let the hours that I'm awake stop me from getting enough exercise. That's literally all I'm doing, I'm just getting exercise. And it's beautiful out there. I literally didn't see a single other person the whole time I was walking around. And I love that. So yeah, I'm gonna go back out. I didn't record anything the first time I went out, because I was just enjoying the walk. But if you listen to how quiet it is, then you can probably hear. There's not a lot going on. No cars, nothing. I need to get used to being out at night time, not letting the darkness intimidate me. There are certain people that use the darkness as a way of intimidating other people, but that just relies on the person being intimidated. So if I'm not intimidated, then it's not intimidating, no matter what somebody does. It's just the same as the daytime. And anyway, I've got my camera, and I've got the same legs that I have during the day, so it's not like it's any different if a situation occurs at night or a situation occurs in the day. You just do the same thing, trying to get away from the person who's causing whatever's happening. So I'm not going to let those dark people try to intimidate me by trying to make me think that I should be scared of something. I'm going to decide not to be scared, but I'm going to do it for all the people who are scared. I'm going to do it for all the people who are intimidated by the people that try to use intimidation tactics, so that I can show them how to win over those bullies. I don't like people like that. Anyway, this should be a good walk. I'm not predicting to see anyone at all. Like I said before, when I just walked around earlier, I didn't see a single person. Not walking anyway. I saw a couple of cars. I didn't see any people walking around. Oh no, maybe I saw one. I might have saw one person. Anyway, it's not a lot of people at this time. And I like that, because it's peaceful. It's mad to me that people assume that it's something other than what it is. Like, if you embrace it, then it's perfectly normal and there's nothing scary or bad or anything at all. It's just the night time. It's incredibly peaceful, but I really feel like it's the overwhelming majority of people that allow themselves to be too scared to leave the house if it's night time. Maybe not all the time, but there's definitely times when that's true for everybody, I would say. And I don't know, for me, there's only as much to be scared of as there is during the day. If anything, there's less to be scared of, because there's almost no people outside. And the reason is because it's like everybody stays inside thinking, well, we can't go outside because something bad might happen, so everybody stays inside. But if everybody's inside, there's no one outside to do anything bad. So I really think the overwhelming majority of the time, nothing happens at all. Just like going out during the day, the overwhelming majority of the time, nothing happens at all. When I say nothing happens, I mean there's no incidences of, that would cause you to be alarmed in some way. I mean, to be honest, thinking about it, if I actually did say it from my personal perspective, I think there's more risk during the day from other people than there is at night. I could actually make an argument for it being safer at night, because there's, like I said, the overwhelming majority of people are all indoors, at least where I live. I get that it's different in other places, like in London. If you go out at night, there's loads of people about, so it's different there. But I'm not personally going to adopt a mindset based on a different place to where I am, just because it seems relative to what is going on here. The only thing that's relative is that it's night time. That's the only place where there's correlation, but that doesn't mean that you can correlate the experience of being out there at night compared to here. Because compared to here, there's relatively little going on. There's basically nothing going on. And every now and then that I do come across somebody, they look way more scared than I am. But I mean, I don't want people to feel scared at all. It would be a much better world if people weren't scared. But I'm not sure really how to even attempt to alleviate people's fears, or even if it's worth it, because I don't know. What also comes into play is the fact that it's probably the majority of people that, you know, awake during the day and sleep during the night. And there are people that do the opposite. Either they work a night shift or that's just the way they are. And for me personally, I wouldn't have so much of an issue with there being more people around at night time if it was like an accepted social norm that people were out during the night doing whatever they're up to. But I guess it's this assumption by common people that people who go out at night are up to like no good, which is not necessarily true at all. Well, it's definitely not true for me. If I go out at night, I'm not up to no good whatsoever. If anything, I'm thinking about other people, and I've spent my time sort of thinking about how to free people from their anxieties, how to free people from their fears, because it's one of the biggest fears that people have, most common fears that people have. Fear of the dark, fear of the night time. So I don't know, when I realised that it's framed like that, you know, that's one of the biggest fears, I think there was a part of me that thought, well, I'm not going to be afraid. That's what people are scared of. I don't want to be caught looking scared, because I don't want to be scared. I don't want to feel scared. I don't want there to be anything that exists that scares me or that I have a phobia about or anything like that. So I really tried to actually literally face my fears one by one. And I've spent a lot of time out at night time. I used to have a job that would started work at about 10 p.m. and then I finished about 8 a.m. and I used to walk for about an hour to get there. So I'd walk for an hour, I'd start work at 10 p.m. and then I'd finish at 8 a.m. So that whole time I was working all night. Now you could say, well, going out at 10 p.m, that's not as bad, that's not as scary, you know. It gets more scary when it's past midnight, when it's 1 a.m, when it's 2 a.m. I'm not sure I really agree with that, to be honest. I've been out all through the night so many times. Midnight, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 a.m. And from what I've seen, there's almost nothing to be scared of. Every now and then, you'll have something completely out of the ordinary happen, just like you do during the day. But if anything, I think the instances of people doing crazy, terrible things are actually much higher during the day than they are at night. So I really don't think there's anything to be afraid of. I mean, there's only something to be afraid of, like, if you want to tolerate being afraid. I don't want to tolerate being afraid. I don't know, it's not like being afraid actually protects you from anything. Being afraid just means you feel fear. So at some point you have to question, do I want to carry on feeling fear? Because feeling fear is one of the most unpleasant feelings you can have. It doesn't feel good to feel afraid. And the only way that fear continues to live on is if you make the decision not to do anything that makes you feel afraid. It's the feeling of the fear that is the releasing of the fear. It's like exposure therapy. The more that you're exposed to that which you're afraid of, the less afraid you are of it. And it's not to say that I'm encouraging people to do bad things that make people feel scared. I'm not, but I'm not able to stop them as far as I know. And you're better off not to live in fear. It's looking at it from a different angle. I would also encourage people not to do things that scare other people. Don't act in a way that's scary towards other people. But also, don't willingly continue to live in fear if you have the choice to do something that scares you. A lot of the time, after you've done it, you'll feel relieved. And the reason is because you've gained a new sense of confidence from having faced something you fear and having still survived. And that is truly the basis of all confidence. This is what I'm getting at, is if you don't face your fears, you don't get confidence. It's impossible. Gaining confidence in life, in every way, is only done by facing your fears over and over and over and over and over again, until you no longer fear that, or you fear it a lot less, and then you have confidence because you realise that what you went through, that you were scared of, you survived, and you're still here. Because I guess fear, what fear fundamentally comes down to is the idea that something's going to happen and that's going to be the end of you. And first of all, I think there's no reason to fear that anyway. I just think, well, if it happens, it happens. You can do what you can try and do for it not to happen, but if it's completely inevitable and you have no way of changing it, then just accept your fate. But a lot of the time, what you think could happen doesn't actually happen. So you have to start to understand that fear is irrational. Meaning, if you predict that something's going to happen and then it doesn't happen, and that happens time and time again, that you predict it incorrectly, then you've got to start to realise, well, I think I know what's going to happen, but I'm wrong, right? Because then you get a sense of confidence from realising that nothing bad is going to happen. It's just a thought. You're just having the thought that something bad is going to happen. But the overwhelming majority of the time, nothing bad happens, or if something bad happens, it's not what you predicted it to be. So I would say your ability to accurately predict the future is impaired. You don't have the ability to accurately predict the future. And a lot of the time, your picture of, or your imagination of, what the future is going to entail for you is inaccurate in comparison to the actuality of what happens. So you've got to try and test your own imagination as much as you possibly can. If your imagination is trying to tell you that something is going to happen, you've got to think, right, well, it could happen, but it might not. So then you've got to put yourself into a position that you saw yourself in when you thought that it could happen, and you see that it doesn't happen. And that means that life proves you wrong so many times that you no longer think in that fatalistic sort of dooming way. You don't predict that something bad is going to happen, because there have been too many times where you predicted it and then nothing happened and everything was fine. So you really have to think about and understand when you're actually literally being over dramatic in your thoughts, in the way you talk to other people, and when you're feeding way too much into your imagination for the sake of what? All it does is it puts you at odds with other people that are out there in the world, because you start creating stories about how they could do this, that and the other, and now you see them as someone who can potentially do something bad when they're not that to you anyway. They are to your imagination, they are to your mind, but that's a picture that's in your head that is, you think it's aimed to try to protect you from the possibility of a threat, but it doesn't just protect you from the possibility of a threat, it also keeps you away from all different kinds of opportunity that are beneficial for you, and actually stops you from getting the things that you want in your life. So you've got to recognise what's true and what's not. And sure, there may be times when your imagination is correct and you do correctly predict the future, and fair enough. But as far as I can tell, you've got to be able to distinguish between what is absolutely for sure 100% certain and what is a maybe, could be, possibly. Because if it's a maybe, could be, possibly, that means there's a chance that whatever you're thinking of isn't going to happen. And if you're going to let the ideas that are maybe, could be, possibly stop you from doing what it is you want to do, then you're just going to be constantly stopped from doing what it is you want to do, and you're never going to reach your potential to become what it is you're capable of becoming. You're never going to get to be the person that you want to be, because you let some degree of fear in, and that fear controls you. Just stepped in the house for a minute. I think I'm going to go back out again. Everything I just said about overcoming fear is literally what I'm in the process of doing right now. Because I'm afraid to leave the house just because it's night time. Whereas during the day, I wouldn't think about it. I'd go out as many times as I want, whenever I wanted to. And I'd come in and out as many times as I wanted to during the day. But for some reason that thought is still there that says it's night time, and that's supposed to mean something to me. That's supposed to stop me from being able to go out. But I just have to go out. I've got all this energy, I need to spend it. So I stopped in to quickly use the toilet, and I had a sip of water, and then I'm going to go back out. That was short-lived. Come back inside. Gotta sit down for a bit, rest. Felt pretty terrible for a couple of hours there. It's been a couple of hours since the last shot. But I've started to feel better, thanks to watching Being Gordon Ramsay on Netflix. The sort of the relaxedness of it has given me a bit of peace of mind, and kept me focused to distract me away from feeling not so good. So Thanks. Thanks to who? Well, thanks to Netflix, Gordon Ramsay, the people that made this show. Appreciate it. I'm going to carry on watching. It's 3:37 a.m.